Hello folks, it's Carl after coming in from shoveling, and I just wanted to do a video. I was trying to do a YouTube live, but apparently I had been set up for YouTube live, but I guess somehow if you don't use it, you lose it, so I have to wait 24 hours before I can do a live video to YouTube, which is fine. So my last few videos have been few and far between, mainly because of the changes to YouTube in how you can make a bit of pocket change off it, really. Because, I mean, who's going to watch me in the thousands or millions, right? Not very many people. So I had originally started on YouTube to try and make, a part-time money kind of deal, because that's what it was touted as, was a place where you could make some good part-time money. So anyway, and then I got into some political commentary about things going on in my home province of New Brunswick around the bilingualism rules and everything else, which is, if you watch the videos, pretty much my opinion of it is, I want you to speak French at work and at home and wherever you want in the province of New Brunswick, and I want you to be able to speak English at work and at home and wherever you want in the province of New Brunswick. And we do not necessarily need government intervention to create false bubbles where certain languages have to be spoken over the other one. And it works both ways in that province, depending on where you go and what you do. When I was a kid, you used to be able to drive from an English village or a French village, and down the road 5 minutes you'd be in the other languages village, or you'd be in an Irish village or a Scottish village or an Old English village or a French Parisian from France village, more so than an Acadian French village, because they exist in New Brunswick too. And there's also the United Empire Loyalist city of St. John, which is, British patriots from the French and British war. And the US and Canada and all that other stuff. Anyway, all that history that really doesn't matter. They should be living there in coexistence instead of having the government fine people and make them go out of their pocket to change signs to a different language, or the font isn't big enough on that language. The font, I mean, seriously, if people can't look at a sign and see two languages on it and read one that they like and just live on and live on and live on and have fun, we have a problem. And the government's stirring the pot and causing the problem in New Brunswick. So that's my opinion on that. I still have strong feelings about it because I've seen the province go through hell economically over it, because it does do a lot of damage economically. But anyway, enough on that. To today's video. Before we get to that, I also used to do car shows and things like that, so you used to get a lot of cars and things like that on this channel. But since the weird things that Google was doing with the way you can make money on YouTube, I haven't done a lot of videos, but this is one today, and I feel strongly about it. The Canadian government is in the process of banning a lot of hunting rifles and going to a bolt action firearm law, basically, with their latest amendment to Bill C-21. If you don't know anything about Bill C-21 or firearms law, I am not going to do your research for you. You will have to Google and look up Canadian firearms laws and see how extensively they are restricting firearms owners in Canada to what they can do and what they can't do. They make it extremely safe for the general population. What they do not do is manage any kind of control over the criminal elements that have firearms in Canada. And they won't. That's a different thing altogether. You have to attack it at the source, at the borders with the CBSA, at the airports with the Canadian Transportation Safety Association or board or whoever they are. It's basically the same guys, the border agents, right? And the screening agents. And having the RCMP there with their gun-smelling dogs, drug-sniffing dogs, whatever they're doing. They have to inspect shipments coming into the ports. They have to really, really come down hard on criminals who use guns in violent acts, robberies, burglaries, things like that. The latest Liberal amendment Liberal amendment to this C-21 has made it more restrictive for hunters and fishers And like sportsmen, because yes, fishermen do carry guns in some areas where they go fishing because they have to for predator protection. You don't want to be surprised by a grizzly bear when you're fishing for salmon, okay? Anyway, so it's not all about you and your little bubble of where you live and what people do there. It's a big friggin' country, and people do things in very different ways all around it. And that's part of our problem with our legislation and everything else, because it tends to focus on the wrong things. Because you get a pocket of society that lives in a little bubble, and they want everything to be oh so nice in their little bubble, and they come up with these rules and regulations that don't work for everybody in their area. So, that said, the Liberals have a light on crime bill, amendment, whatever, to the criminal code, where they removed mandatory sentences for people who use a gun in an armed robbery at a gas station, for people who use a gun during an assault that doesn't involve firing the gun. So, on one hand, they're coming down hard on hunters who are just trying to go out there. There's Saskatchewan farmers and Alberta farmers fighting off a wild boar infestation of an invasive species. And if they do not have a semi-automatic centerfire rifle, and they try and take those on with a bolt-action 5-mag clip hunting rifle, they may die at the hands of a wild boar. When you're hunting a deer, when you're hunting a moose, when you're hunting a bear, to feed your family, which, yes, people do that. People feed their family with what they hunt. Just talk to the indigenous population. They do it all the time. Here's the thing. You try and bag a deer, you try and bag whatever your game animal is, with a bolt-action rifle, it takes you a longer to get the second shot off, because if you shoot an animal and he decides to run, or he or she decides to run, they're going to run. Now, if you can't run as fast as a deer, you can't. If you can't run as fast as a deer, you may not find that deer by the time you catch up with it to get your second shot in. That's why a semi-automatic rifle is required to be fair to the animals and humane to the animals that are being hunted. But nobody's talking about this. They're all talking about, oh, the Nova Scotia mass shooting. Gee. Anybody want to look back in their video archives and see where there was mention of a payoff to the guy who did the shooting by the RCMP, and they were looking at this one huge payment of cash that he picked up from the RCMP, and oh well, he was acting as an agent of the RCMP. He was not employed by the RCMP. We didn't pay him to do anything. He was an agent of the RCMP. Look up what that is, please. Do some research. Anyway, that was very early on in the investigation. It's been buried now. I can't find it anymore, but I have a really good memory. And when this thing first happened, I was paying attention, because I care about folks back east, because that's where I'm from. That's where I grew up. Anyway, just some thoughts on that. Do your research. I'm not going to be your research library. Google is an awesome resource. The media is an awesome resource. Alternate media is an awesome resource. Have a look through. See what you can find, please. Because if we do this semi-automatic centerfire rifle ban in this amendment, it affects all hunting rifles that are needed to be fair to the animals, and also make it so that people who are trying to hunt for food and sustenance can actually feed their families. Instead of, oh, well, I almost got the deer. Sorry, honey, I'm not a super marksman, you know, not everybody's perfect in this world. Unlike some people who think they are. But let's just say this. Not everybody's perfect. Not everybody's a born sniper. And though they practice very hard at the range, it takes a long time to develop those skills. The average hunter needs a semi-automatic so he can bag his game humanely for what he's shooting. Hello, wildlife advocates, where the hell are you on this? Hello, David Suzuki, where the hell are you on this? Mr. Ecology, Mr. Environment, Mr. Let's be fair to animals. Like, come on. Where are you? Where are you all? I'm sitting here and I can hear the crickets. I can hear the frickin' crickets. because nobody's saying shit about this. And it needs to be said. This is the craziest attempt to buy votes, because that's all it is. It has nothing to do with getting tough on crime. You want to get tough on crime? Go to the source. Close the goddamn border down and do friggin' physical searches on people's cars. Every single one that comes in that, oh, this guy seems suspicious. Maybe we should check him out. Yeah, maybe you should. Maybe you should see if he's smuggling in some firearms. And, sorry guys, the CBSA, the TSA, the CTSB, you all do an extremely good job. You have done some really good catches, but you need more resources, you need more help, and I'm standing behind you to do your job and do it well. I'm not against you. I'm just saying, the government, you know, the people in charge of all the money that we give them every year in their taxes, they need to focus where focus is needed instead of going after law-abiding citizens who aren't a trouble to anybody. They aren't a bother to anybody. They're just trying to feed their families, or trying to enjoy their sports, or trying to enjoy their hobbies. Could you imagine if all of a sudden tomorrow, say you like downhill skiing, the government said, well, too many people have died in downhill ski accidents. Do the research. They actually do. There's quite a few. Anyway, too many people have died in that, so we're just going to ban the sport. Just going to ban it. Going to prohibit it. What do you think of that? This is what's happening to hunters. It's the noose. The noose is tightening till there's nothing. That's what's happening to the firearms law-abiding citizen, firearms owner, law-abiding citizens in Canada. That is what is happening. The noose is tightening, and it's frightening because it stinks of a totalitarianism, authoritative regime, not a parliamentary system like we're supposed to have in Canada. As a matter of fact, C-21 did not go through the parliamentary system. The amendment is not going through the parliamentary system. It's being shoved through Parliament on an OIC. If you don't know what that is, please do your research. I'm not your friggin' teacher. Okay? Anyway, have a nice day. Freedom, family, and liberty. Now, by saying those words, oh my God, I'm going to get put on a watch list because I like freedom, family, and liberty to do what I want to do. Not wanting to do anything criminal, I'll tell you that. I want to live in peace with my neighbors, I'll tell you that. And I definitely don't want crazed gunmen running around my neighborhood. And I don't want criminal gangs running around my streets. So, let's take a long, hard look at what the hell we're doing in this goddamn country and get it right. Because we are not the USA. We're very different. We're very different as far as it comes to how we want to live. We don't go seeking war. We will defend ourselves. We will defend ourselves, but we do not go seeking war. Okay? We don't try and control the world's economy with war. We don't do that. Or do we? Maybe do some research on that. Anyway, you guys take care. Have a nice day. It's close to Christmas, so Merry Christmas. Have a great time. All right, these glasses really make my eyes bug out when I do that. Hey, I apologize. I don't know why. See, they aren't bugging out. They're just the way the glasses work when I look the wrong way. Have a nice day.